Now you're going to go through Mary's room. Let me tell you what's there. You can look as you walk through. First of all, remember I said privacy was an issue. The only commode in the home is in here. That would necessitate privacy. The other issue for privacy is getting dressed. Take whatever it took you ladies, whatever time it took you ladies to get dressed this morning, add 40 minutes to that. And that's what it would take to get your corset and hoop skirt going. So Mary had liked her privacy for that as well. The oldest piece in the Lincoln home is the chest of drawers here in Mary's room. It was made in 1820. Mary brought it with her to Springfield when she came here from Kentucky to find a husband. Obviously, she did well on that count. And finally, William Tabb would have stayed with Mary in a trundle bed that was slid under this bed. But when Robert left for school out east, the boys were moved across the hall to their own room. So once everybody gets to Mary's room, when I get you all out in the hallway, I'll talk to you about the boys' room and the hired girls' room out there. All right, so take a look at Mary's room and meet me in the hallway. Remember to stay on the blue carpet. Period toys in there, the marbles in the foot of the bed actually were what is dad. And then the fifth graders don't know the marbles. That's really sad. Yes, they got their electronic stuff. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, once everybody's out here, I'll talk to you about these two rooms.
How did they manage to, if they sold everything, how did they manage to get so much of it back?
A lot of people bought that in speculation. Remember, he'd already been elected president.
Okay.
So they bought it knowing it belonged to the president, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And some gave it back, some sold it back over the years.
Oh.
Yeah. Long one. This is a nice upper middle class home for the time. Okay, folks, the boys' room, you'll notice, is a very plain room. That's partly by design. The boys can mess that up and not get into trouble. You may recall the Lincolns were very, very lenient with their children. They could get away with about anything. Mr. Lincoln just laughed. He once said he did not want to subject his sons to parental tyranny. He surely didn't. At the end of the hall is the hired girls' room. Mr. Lincoln was gone a great deal, riding the circuit twice a year, 3 months at a time, all the other stuff we read about him doing. So he insisted Mary have a hired girl, help with the boys and help with the house and so forth. They gave her $1.50 a week, room and board. That was a good deal for the time. They had a lot of hired girls, many hired girls. They had a Portuguese, they had an Irish, they had a black, all sorts of folks went through here as hired girls. In that room is a chest on the right. As you'll go by, you'll see it on your right. That chest is believed to have been made by Mr. Lincoln's father, Thomas. If indeed it was, and we're pretty sure it was, if indeed it was, that is probably the most priceless thing in the house. On the other side is a closed door. That's a trunk closet. This is before hangers, so you stored your clothes in trunks. Now, we don't know how many trunks they had here, but we do know when Mary died at her sister's house across town in 1882, she had 64 trunks full of clothes. That's a lot. Okay, if you want to head downstairs now, please be careful. They are steep. They crunch together in the kitchen, and we'll talk about it.
I think that would be like 100. 64, that's library.
You transfer around. 64 trunks. My clothes. What did you really? Well, this is plank floor too. Not real. That chest is cool, isn't it? Small bed. And a cheap.
Looks a little nice and scrunched together down there.
Okay, we're going to scrunch more.
We got to.
Scrunch more of the.
Okay, the kitchen, like today, would be the social center of the house. You can picture Willie and Jed running around here while Mary's cooking. That door on the far side leads to the back porch. Door here leads to the side porch. They'd be in and out all the time. Originally, Mary cooked in here in a fireplace. Think about cooking in a fireplace for a family of 4. Not a fun deal. So, in before 1860, actually, Mr. Lincoln bought her a stove, and she could clean up the kitchen and hang curtains, and she really liked that. But the first stove she got wasn't cutting it, because remember I said she was a master cook. So in 1860, Mr. Lincoln bought her this fine stove. This is the best stove money could buy in 1860. You couldn't get any better. Mary loved it. She wanted to take it to Washington with her. You know, but Mr. Lincoln said, Mary, there'll be cooks in the White House. You really don't need to do it. This is her original stove. On the far wall is a dry sink. You bring water in from outside, you know, wash your dishes, whatever, and that. Now, speaking of outside, I'm going to turn you loose in a minute, and you can look around out there all you want. What's out there? Well, there are 2 pumps. South pump is for cistern water, rain water. They use for washing and cleaning. The cistern's still out there underground. The north pump is for well water for drinking, but the reason you have the cistern is the well didn't always produce water, so at least have water for washing and cleaning. There's a barn out there. It houses equipment today. Back in the day, it would have had the horse, the cow, and the carriage in it. And Mr. Lincoln milked that cow every day until he went to Washington. Tells you something about him right there, I think. There's an outhouse out there. It's not the original one. It's from the 1840s period. Very much like the one the Lincolns had. It's a three-holer, three sizes. Papa bear, mama bear, baby bear. Everybody needed to fit. Remember, we had a 7 and 10-year-old running around here. There would have been more garden out there. There would have been more fruit trees. Because this is before refrigeration, so you tend to do fresh whenever you can get a hold of it. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about anything? Yeah.
In the bedroom, there was photos of Henry Clay and Daniel Webster. Would that have it really been
Those are
something
not
about-
the original photos, but they would have been there because those were Mr. Lincoln's political idols. And Mary's. Well done. In fact, they met because Mary grew up next door to Henry Clay. And part of the reason they got together was here in Springfield, they shared that same view. Mr. Lincoln idolized Henry Clay, Mary knew Henry Clay, and that kind of what brought them together, actually. Anything else?
Not about the house, but was she able to actually mother that boy that was still pretty young after the assassination, the one who died in 1871? I mean,
Dad got the short shrift. He did. Immediately after, no, she was no good to him for several years, but then she got back to it at the urging of her sisters, and she took him to Europe with her and so forth, which proved to be not a good idea because that's where he contracted the pneumonia that killed him. So she had that on her conscience, that, yeah. But after a year or two after the assassination, no. Okay, well, folks, thank you very much for your attention, and if somebody get that door there, you can go out, watch your step, there's one step down.
Thank you.
Ah, people wanted to come back, people didn't want to go away.
No.
What a mess. Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, you did. Thank you very much.
It was very nice though.
Non-potable water.